Welcome to Rooted and Divine with me, Katelyn Paine, a podcast for women ready to shed old identities, heal, and align with their soul. Each week, we'll explore spiritual growth, healing, and personal stories that empower you to embody your truth. Rooted in humanity and fully alive as a divine soul. Hello, beautiful friends. It's so good to be with you again. I have missed our time podcasting together and just being in this space. The last time I recorded a podcast, I was 6 weeks pregnant. I was telling you guys about it. And as life would have it, I know at the end of that podcast, I had made some vows about how I was going to show up. And it's so funny. Anytime I put my staff in the ground and I really tell God, life, universe, this is who I am and this is what I'm doing, immediately I always get, it's like, okay, God's like, all right, let's see it, girl. Let's put it to the test. And I shortly forgot who I was after that podcast. 7th week of first trimester came about and I just turned into a sleeping zombie and really had to let myself rest and be in the moment and let myself feel all the feelings. And it wasn't what I wanted to always do. I wanted to just be like, I'm choosing this and I'm going to have this experience. What I observed a lot over this last trimester, so now I'm in my 14th week walking out of the first trimester, was just how much in the first trimester I really brought the past to the present. I was like, well, with old pregnancies, I was feeling this way. So that means in this pregnancy, I should probably feel this way. And every time I did that, I just needed to stop and observe and feel what needed to be felt and then choose how I wanted to move from there. And I'm not saying that I conquered all pregnancy symptoms, that I conquered all nausea and all sicknesses, but I do feel like it really softened my experience and allowed me to experience everything with a sense of ease rather than rigidity, which I felt a lot more armored in my first 2 pregnancies while going through the first trimester. If I felt anything, it just felt like I was like, oh my gosh, I have to, this has control over me and I do not have any say over this experience. Pregnancy felt like it was happening to me. And an exciting news, I'm having a baby girl. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram, I posted that, but we decided to do a gender reveal because it's our last one. And so I decided to go big. I've never done a gender reveal or any type of, I don't know, fun celebratory things while I'm pregnant. And it's a girl and I'm just so happy. And it feels so divinely orchestrated. And truly leading up to that moment, every person in my life was like, Kate, it's a girl. It is a girl. And while I believed that, there was that one part of me that was like, and if it is a boy, I will be happy. I mean, I have all boys now and I love being a boy mom. And I've always thought I was just a boy mom. But until Ethan, blew the confetti cannon, um, I didn't really let myself feel how much I knew and wanted a girl. And so it feels like this little girl is truly bringing in so many new codes of light and ways of being. The first trimester was definitely a purging for me and a meeting of the old self and constantly loving her and constantly finding compassion and grace for her. And also, on a physical level, I got sick so many times in my first trimester. I got 2 sinus infections. You can probably still hear the leftover of another one. And then a cold. I lost my voice. It felt like I was being rolled through waves and I couldn't ever fully stand. It was just a wave after a wave after a wave. And, but here we are, week 14. I'm feeling like I have more pep in my step. And so much has transpired for me over the course of this first trimester and even this last year. And it feels like God is asking me to stand in front of you guys again naked and to just share my heart and share what has happened to me. And there's been a part of me that's been hesitant to share it because I've been like, well, should I really embody these things first before I share? And maybe I should just share this on the other side. But I'm in it right now. And I keep getting told that it is important to share while I'm in it and that it's not something that I need to be fully embodied and mastered in, but that it needs to be shared because it feels like it is happening to many of us. And there are some who maybe don't have words for it. And I hope that my experience and the words that I speak today will simply give you words to put to your experience, because what we reveal, we have to feel and then we heal. And what we don't want to reveal or see within ourselves creates an oozing wound inside of us. And I know that we all know what that feels like, the place that we don't want to look at, the place that we don't want to see, the place we don't want to feel. That part of you that you're like, I don't know if that will ever change. And it creates an undercurrent in your life of which takes a lot of energy to manage, to pretend that you don't feel that way. So we will just get right into it. Here we are. Um, this energy that I have really been working with and sitting with since the beginning of the year, and then really made itself manifest. It made itself more clear for me in early March when I had hosted a retreat at my home. And in my process at this retreat, it started out with I just don't feel free. I feel trapped in my life. And that's one of the feelings that I had when I found out that I was pregnant initially, peeing on the stick. And then I just went to the bed and I cried because I was like, I'm trapped in this body. I did not choose this pregnancy and I can't get out of it. And I'm stuck here in this life and the repercussions of this baby coming to me while still holding one thing that I really want to name, and that as women, we are coming into a more multidimensional experience of ourselves. What does that mean? It means that we can hold multiple truths at once. It means that multiple things can be true about us, that we are not one thing. So if you think about something that's 2D, it's flat on a paper. It has no dimension, no texture, it's just flat. You make something 3D, we live in a 3D dimension. We have we come off of the paper and we come to life. A lot of times in the 3D world, we feel like we should be one thing. My name is Katelyn. I have blonde hair. I was born and raised in Utah. I was raised a Mormon girl. I've come from a very normal middle class family. Like these things that we have that feel very like that is my story. That is my experience. So what we're learning to do in stepping into holding the multidimensionality of ourselves is holding truths that can feel we can feel an insane amount of discomfort while still holding an insane amount of joy, while still holding some sadness, while still holding an excitement for life. And I want to reflect how I've been, because I've noticed that as I've told women, like, I wasn't super excited about this pregnancy. Feeling kind of that grief of I didn't choose this and it happened to me, and I know in the end I really chose this and that this was divinely orchestrated, and I can feel that in every fiber of my bone. And still something needs to be honored. Another part of me still must be honored. She must be felt fully and she must have a voice. And I've experienced moments of talking to women when I'm voicing this part of me that feels actually in pain about this experience. how they're uncomfortable with that pain, and they're like, "But this is gonna be the greatest gift of your life. This baby is you're gonna never know how she lived without her." I'm like, "I know that that's true. I just want someone to grieve with me while still holding that I know this baby is divine. I know I'll realize how did I ever live without her. I know it's gonna be one of the best things that's ever happened to me, but I need to feel the pain of something else right now so that I can more fully step into the joy." Okay. So that is what I mean about really stepping more into our multidimensionality and stepping into that there are so many parts of us that need to be held, voiced, and seen. So there was this part of me that feels like she did not have freedom. And I have felt this way my whole life. And I've played with this part multiple times. But as I got pregnant, I was like, I'm trapped in my life. I can't get out. And then at this retreat that I hosted at my house, it came up again in my process. It started out with, I'm trapped in this marriage. And then it was like, I'm actually just trapped being a woman. I'm so limited to what I can do because I'm a woman. It's like, I'm just actually trapped being human. It's not even about being a woman anymore. And when I got to that core essence at this retreat at my house, it was such a revelation for me because I also want to name this is that, what I really had to process and think about and journal, like, what is freedom? What does true freedom mean? How will I know when I have it? What will it feel like in my body? How do I continue to hold it? How does it grow? Can freedom grow and expand? Can freedom truly be taken away? And I am not the type of woman that grew up thinking about, oh my gosh, I can't wait to have kids, because I didn't view it as an experience that brought more freedom. I viewed it as an experience that limited the woman's capacity. Now, I grew up with a great mom. I was raised like really normal middle class American. I had all my needs met. I grew up in a great community, but I didn't walk around with the women in my community and think, wow, those women are fully expressed. Wow, that woman is fully in her power. Does this have to do with this could have to do with multiple components, obviously, but that just wasn't my experience of the women around me of like, wow, you're really making me want to be a mom. And maybe it's because I'm the oldest and I was always taking care of people anyways. And so I just wanted to just not take care of anyone. But anyways, so when that energy presented itself at the retreat, I've just been sitting with that over the last few weeks, 7 weeks or so. Journaling about my grief and journaling about how I don't feel free. It's not because I am in a marriage that's constraining or confining. I have built in a lot of freedom. You would probably, if I told you how I lived my life day to day, there's a lot of women who would probably say, Katelyn has tons of freedom. Katelyn gets a lot of things taken care of for her because over the last, since having children, when you're married with no kids, you can still do exactly what you want to do and live how you want to live. And I don't know, it feels very different. Then you add kids in and, just 8 years ago, 7 years ago, I remember telling Eve, like, he's working 2 jobs. He's trying to just bring home the paycheck. We're barely making any money. I'm at home with 2 kids. I have postpartum depression. I have zero support system in my life, and I'm doing everything on the house front. And he's doing everything he can, like, to try to just support us. And I'm dying inside. And I'm pissed at him because I'm like, you get to go out to lunch with your friends still. You get to live outside and talk to adults all day, and I'm just stuck in here with these kids. And like drowning in the depths of postpartum depression, feeling like there was a legit anchor on my ankle holding me at the bottom of the sea. And from that space, slowly working my way out of it through this is a whole other story, but really deciding that I wanted to always build in, I'm like, my freedom matters. Like how I feel matters. And at first it was just like, like what do I really want to do? What really lights me up as a mother and what doesn't? And that has taken a lot of deprogramming and a lot of courage because we all have a version of a mother that we think we need to be in order to be of value, in order to be a good mom. And so I've been working hard and I have a lot of systems set up in place and Ethan and I are on the same page and supporting each other's freedom and supporting each other's highest like good. It hasn't always been easy between the two of us because there'd be moments where you're like, can't you just not do this? This one thing. And I'd be like, it sucks the life out of me. And if it sucks the life out of me, then it's taking from what actually really matters to me. And my core values are this. And what I want to have energy for are these relationships, which is you, Kingston, and Max. And if I don't have energy for that because I've been folding laundry and making 1,000 meals and cleaning my house and all the mundane tasks that you guys know about already, like I don't have life force left inside of me. So, that being said, this now is coming from a place of where I'm like, at the retreat, I was like, there's nothing that Ethan could do that would make me feel more free because I already have it all. And I still don't feel free in my body. And I'm so bugged by that. And then a few weeks ago, I was on a call with one of my mentors who's just the best and crying to her about this of like, I just don't know if I'll ever feel fully free while I'm married and have kids. And like, I see other people who are, I have so many amazing mentors and friends and colleagues who are single and I appear to me as if they are so free. Like they get to choose what they want to do when they want to do it. They have no one to answer to. They get to just go and live. And there's this one part of me that just wants to exit my life and be a gypsy, like be a nomad and just go wherever I want when I want. And Ethan knows about this part of me. And it's not that I've ever been like, oh, I'm going to actually leave you and exit my life. It's just this part of me that I have to hold space for and that he knows about and that we speak about and that there are times where I don't feel like there's a lot of freedom in my life and I'm like, how can we both feel more free and what do we need to do to make sure we feel our best and highest selves? Because if I am not that, then what is the purpose of anything else if I am just dimming my light to make sure that I fit myself into a tiny box to say that I'm a good mom? What is the point? I'm dimming my light. I'm teaching my boys that they should lower their standards and hide parts of themselves so that they can fit into a narrative of which society, family, religion has given them, like that's crap. So anyways, I was sitting with this energy. It's been really big and I'm realizing I know this consciously, but when you're in it, you forget have like the closer that you come to more light, the more that the darkness feels so big and heavy. And the darkness, the shadow, it has to come up and out of the body. And as it comes up and out, it feels like it's almost going to suffocate you. And I felt that way like 2 weeks ago of like, I am not going to make it. I just feel so frustrated because I have everything that I need to be free and I still don't feel this inherent sense of freedom. And for me, what that feels like is just this innate joy and this like God coursing through divinity, coursing through every fiber of your being, that nothing and no one can steal your peace, and that you are like a child in a candy store, and you get to go and you get to experience every part of the candy store that you want to experience. And there are times when I feel so limited where I feel like my life situation means that I can only be in the chocolate part of the candy store. And my soul feels like she's all of the candy store. Like I feel all of the earth. I don't feel like just a mom. I love being a mom, and I feel so much more than a mom and a wife and a woman and a white girl and like all these confining things that we put on ourselves. And that's what freedom feels like, is like, I want to one day go to eat chocolate. And then the next moment, I want to go to that part of the store and I want to eat the gummies. And I want to go to the next part of the store and I want to eat the homemade fudge. It's just this movement and this fluidity where sometimes I feel so bogged down by identities and roles and like the confines of being in a human body. And you guys already know I'm like way more comfortable in the ethereal than I am being a human. And this has been the part that God has been teaching me of like how divinely orchestrated my humanity is. So, okay, I'm at another retreat with Danny Frederick. It was so fun. So this was last week. And I walk into this retreat. I had just had a sinus infection. I was feeling pretty low energetically and just like this heaviness about me. And it wasn't the way that I wanted to be entering this retreat. And one of the days, we were working on clearing out the 3 lower chakras. And we did something called like a shame singing circle, where instead of just trauma bonding and going into the details of your life, every woman goes around and you sing about your shame. This could be in English words, this could be in light language, this could just be in tone, sounds, or vibrations. So while that woman is singing her shame, the parts of her that need to be held and seen and witnessed, because what we reveal, we must feel, and then we fully heal it. Other women in this circle were like, we were all sounding and humming and helping the vibration and the density of this shame like move up and out of the body. It was so cool. So we get around to me and I'm just singing about all the times I've put God outside of myself and that I have reached for something outside of myself. We go around another time, another round. It's getting deeper. And then it was just like the same thing. I knew this was going to come up again. It was just like, there is a version of me that hates being a mother. Like, I was like, I hate being a mother. I hate that it is up to me to birth my children. I hate that it's not an option for men that it's not even an option. I hate that I'm a woman. I hate men. Then it was just like, actually, I just hate being a human and I hate all humans. I hate them all. This world freaking sucks. I hate polarity. I hate the density. I just hate it all. I'm singing it. And then I go into this other channeling of this just sound and voice. It's just moving through me. And it felt as I'm singing this out, it actually required a ton of energy. Like, I could feel angels surrounding me, supporting my body, because I knew that I wasn't just singing on my own behalf. I knew I was singing on behalf of the collective. And it felt like the very fabric of my body was being tested to the limits. Like, my mouth was open and this like deep guttural voice. Later, women reflected to me, they're like, it sounded like you were a Navajo. Like, do you have Indian descent? And I'm like, girl, I'm like fully white. My descent on Ancestry DNA is, English and Switzerland or something like that. They're like, you sounded like you should have been like a tribe leader. And if I didn't know that at the moment, I just knew that I had to have the courage to open my voice to sing it out. And it required a lot of my energetic capacity. And it felt really vulnerable. And I felt very naked. Um, Anyways, the circle got done. It was incredible. All of us were like, that was actually really cool. I couldn't even talk to anyone after. I had to go just lay in a hammock and cry. I was like, "I have no words for anyone." So I felt pretty zapped by that day. It really took a lot out of me. And as I was going to sleep, I was telling God and my spirit guides, I'm like, "You guys, really, I feel super zapped. You're so wired that you're tired. You have nothing left inside of you. Like, I can't even lift a limb." Like, that's how much I felt like it took out of me and required of me, which I was so grateful to offer up. But I was like, I need to sleep and I cannot have any dreams tonight. If you guys could just anywhere my body travels, like make sure I'm safe, but can you just let this physical body sleep, no dreams? And God was like, "Girl, the channel is open. We're going in." So I go to sleep and then I wake up at 2:30 a.m. and I'm sweaty and I'm crying and I just had the most intense, visceral dream. And I was told to write it down, and I was up all night just writing, and I just was so much was pouring through me because I was able to clear a level of density and shame that hadn't been able that was ready, that hadn't been able to come through me before. So, I'm just gonna read a part of this dream because I wanna stay on track here. I know I can go on tangents. So, on my the dream the setting, it's dark. It's like dark and gray and it's very colorless and it just didn't feel like a lot of life existed. And in the dream, I was with a group of women from my community who were not married or who had been divorced. And as I was with them, I was like, okay, this is everything I wanted. Like, I'm free. I have no one and nothing relying on me. I can finally just be me. But in the moment that I said that, I inherently knew, I was like, this actually kind of sucks. Like, why does it feel so colorless here? Why are we all lacking color? And I want to preface that this dream was just for me and that it's obviously not a full truth for every person. And I knew that in my dream. But this is just for me, and I hope you take what you take. Take what you will from the dream. So I'm with these women and I was like, "You guys, I'm getting so hungry. I'm so hungry right now." Like my body was getting tired. And they're like, "Well, Katelyn, all we get to eat as a single group of women is pancakes." And I was like, "Pancakes? I cannot eat pancake every freaking day for every meal." And they offered me their pancakes and I just like it was so unfulfilling. And they're like, "Okay, we need to go to our meeting and we're going to meet like let you meet other people like other single spiritual warriors." That's just my dream. And I was like, cool, all right, I'm just going to deal with the pancakes. This is everything that I said that I wanted. I go to this meeting and this circle of really awesome high caliber humans. And there's a lot of people in that circle that were there that I listen to their podcasts and I love to hear what they have to say. And I was like, my little ego self was like, I freaking made it. I'm here at the top. We're doing it all together. I don't have anyone to answer to. I don't have any kids to take care of, and I can be fully in on my spiritual mission. So let's do this. And the group starts talking, and I just observe in my body that I'm losing more energy and that life is colorless. And I'm starting to feel sick. It just felt like life force was not in abundance for me. And as they were speaking, became really clear to me as we were in this group because I had nothing to offer to the group. It felt lifeless. I felt like I had nothing to offer because I was like, what's the point of all this? What are we even doing here? And I started to have some small semblance in the dream at the beginning. I forgot that I was married. I didn't have any remembrance of Ethan or my children. And I was looking at my notes to see if I forgot anything. I forgot I was married. And all of a sudden, I had like a small whisper of a thought come into my awareness of like, I think that there's someone out there who loves me and I need to remember him. And this is not my path. This is their path. And this is so great, but this is not my path. And so I declared to the group, I'm like, you guys, I love you all. You're doing so great. This is your path, but this is not my path. And I can't be here anymore because just instinctively knew I would never live up to my full potential if I stayed there and that I would lose more life force. So I walk away from the group and I'm stumbling and it feels like I'm drunk, but I'm not drunk. I'm just it just really felt like the breath of God, like the breath of life didn't move through me at a high rate. And then I had a remembrance of Ethan and I was like, I think I was married or I am married and I can't remember, but my heart light just shone bright and I knew I needed to walk through this so that it's still dark. The city is wherever I'm at, it's still really dark and colorless. And it's getting darker and I'm losing life force. And I just knew I had to go through this alleyway. I'm like, I have to go on the journey to find him again. And I go through the journey and I'm in this alley and it's dark and these boys are like heckling me and they're little boys and they're just like shadows teasing me and taunting me. And all of a sudden I remembered, oh my gosh, I have a son. I have sons. Are these my sons? Who are they? And I was like, no, these are lost boys. Who are my sons? And then I remembered I was married to a man named Ethan. I get out of this alleyway and I'm like, I have a phone. I could call him. I think I have his number. I call him and I'm like, Ethan, it's me, Katelyn. Do you remember me? Are we married? And he was like, my love, I hear you. Are you done? Is your spiritual quest complete? We've been waiting for you back at home. And I was like flooded with so much remembrance of like, oh, this was the purpose all along. Like, I need him. I need this man in my life. I was like, I need you to come and find me, Ethan. I don't know how to get through this dark city by myself. And he's like, I'm coming for you. Just keep walking. I'm coming. I turn off the phone and it was almost like spiritual guides come to me through every step. Is like I get to this one part of the city and I'm experiencing people as in an incoherent vibration. It's dark and they're doing the best they can. And in my dream, I'm like, I know that this is the experience that they are meant to have. And they're so incoherent and they don't have a lot of life in them. And that's okay. But I know that that's not what is possible for me. And I had to go through these different challenges through the city. And every challenge was like, could I climb up this pole? And could I go through this wall? And I'm just bawling my eyes out and I'm getting more drunk, losing more life force as I do it. And I had this knowing where I was like, if I was married to Ethan, he would slay it at these challenges. Like these challenges, he would already know how to do before he even got there because it's so inherent in his nature. To be so good at these human things that I am not good at, that I do not like to do, and that my soul was never meant to do. And I just could feel with every step of the way that we were just two puzzle pieces fit together that made an entire picture. And that when I did not have him with me, it felt like I was trying to be myself and trying to be him. And it was taking me out of my authenticity and my freedom. I was losing more freedom because I was trying so hard at things that I wasn't supposed to be good at. Going through all these challenges, I have to meet through all these people. I have spiritual guides continuing to show up for me on the way, and I'm just exhausted. And then at the end, the city starts to flood, and Ethan hadn't found me yet. And all of a sudden, I just remembered it was like this one piece of me had a GPS in my soul or a tracker that just connected me to this incoherent city that I was like, I'm so grateful for this city and what it's taught me, but I can no longer find the freedom, my path being a part of this. And it was like these these people were just swarming me, trying to get me to stay there with them. And I had this piece in my hand that I had to take out and give back to them. And I was like, I'm so done. And they were like, you're staying with us. And Ethan drives a truck and he drove up in his truck and it was huge. And it was like, the city is flooding and I'm drowning. These people are drowning me with him. And it was such a heroic moment in my dream. He pulls his hand out, pulls me into the truck. And then all of a sudden, life, the breath of life was just like, like I was resuscitated. And there was color and I could see my body and I could see his. And there, all of a sudden I remembered Max and Kingston's name and they were in the truck with him. Like, we've been waiting for you. And everything fell into place and everything felt as it should be. And I felt the most free that I had ever felt in my life being with them in this situation, in this dynamic, in this partnership, being a mom. And the great mother showed up and just taught me so many lessons. And she was like, daughter, you are the river of life. And Ethan is your bedrock. And if you came into this life and you tried to be the river of life, you would be strewn throughout the land on a desert floor with you'd be seeping through the cracks of the desert floor, which is what you felt in this dream. And with him by your side, you can be the full measure of your creation. You can be the full measure and freedom of who you want to be, because a river is better with a bedrock, with the riverbed. And I felt that deep within my bones, how like Ethan is the earth and he holds me in ways that I don't need to learn how to hold myself in this lifetime. Because I am meant to bring forth a different type of magic. And he brings forth a magic that I don't want anything to do with. And we all have this inherent gift. And I just felt this deep reverence for Ethan and just the gratitude and just the thank you. Thank you so much for choosing me and loving me. Because part of circling back a little bit at my retreat at my house, when we were talking about, when him and I were in a process, there was a version of me that was like, did you and I even choose each other? We got married so young. How did we get here? Or was it our programming that chose each other? And this dream catalyzed this new sense of, I chose you and I choose you again and again and again. And because of you, I am free. And because you are me and I am you, that was the sense of like, we are one. You are just a different extension of me. And it was so, I just felt like I knew that was possible to feel. It wasn't out of my awareness that I could never feel that way. It just was that I hadn't felt it in the extent that I knew that I could within my body. And in that dream, and then the hours following after that dream, it just felt like I was getting downloaded with codes on codes on codes. Like Great Mother was like, let freedom ring through every cell of your body. Let freedom ring, claim the freedom that is yours to feel and to be and to live as. So here is what I wrote after the dream. To be like God, to be like the light. The light loves to recreate itself, tend to itself, see itself through the eyes of others. Because something I've often thought about as a mother is, it's interesting to me as I journey in the space of motherhood. the language, and this is probably another podcast for another time, but the language that mothers use around being a mother feels very limiting to me and doesn't feel good in my body. Examples of this could be like, it's all on me. I have to do everything. I will feel more freedom when my kids get older and go to school. These are all, anything that comes up like that, I challenge. I'm curious. I'm like, why do we feel that way? Is that actually true? And when I think about God, creator, life itself, we are all extensions of the creator. We are all extensions of the divine. We are a fractal of the divine, and the divine experiences itself through us and knows itself more because we live and because we breathe. God is not up there like, you know what, you little shitheads, you guys are really wearing me out and you guys are taking up my freedom. And I just wish you guys would stop reproducing and you guys make terrible choices. And I just feel exhausted and I know myself less because of you. That's not who God is. God, this infinite source of love and creation, knows itself more when it creates more. It gives itself more bodies, human experiences to experience the contrast of who it is through us. And in doing so, becomes more powerful, more all-knowing. Its capacity grows. So I'm like, why does that not feel true for mothers? It feels that for mothers, like you'll hear other things like babies steal your nutrients. And when I leave a pregnancy, I'm really depleted. I lose sleep. It's kind of this lack. There's a lot of lack mentality around what it means to be a mom. And it's done in very loving ways. And so it's really hard for us to point it out. But I'm like, this doesn't make sense. If I'm birthing more children, then I should feel more free and I should feel more myself because that is the essence of God. And that is exactly what God brought through. It was like the light loves to recreate itself, tend to itself, see itself through the eyes of others. And in that, it becomes more powerful, more all-knowing, more omniscient. It is the Alpha and the Omega because you are the Alpha and Omega, Katelyn. And my family and my marriage exponentially give me the opportunity for me to experience more of that than if I had chosen a life of just being a single gypsy warrior woman. Because my children, my husband are all divine, inherent extensions of who I am. And through the love and the care and the grace that I offered them, I offer to myself. And they give me the chance every day to experience more freedom because I get to see into their universe. They are all their own universes, their own minds, their own consciousness, their own sovereign soul. And as I experience myself through them, I become more free. It just felt like, how could that not be true? Because together, and this is so true for me and my life, and if you're single or you're not married or whatever it is, or if you're looking to get a divorce, again, take what feels good for you and leave what doesn't. This isn't about having to be married to experience this. This is about reclaiming the Freedom Family template as a whole. For me personally, but I'm hoping to inspire that in you collectively. Because think about where we have come from as women. 100 years ago, you couldn't have your own bank account. You couldn't make your own money. If you made any money, you had to give it to your husband or you had to give it to your dad if you weren't married. 300 years ago, if we weren't birthing children on children and producing male heirs, we were worth nothing. 1991, you guys, it just became illegal for a man to rape his wife in America. What do I say this for? Is just think about what's living in our DNA and think about your family line, your lineage, and what's living within you that just needs to be revealed so that you can feel it, so that you can heal it, and so that we can call in and birth a new consciousness together, where being a mom from the moment you conceive is freedom, where there is nothing about you that is lost. That you come out of your pregnancy, that you come out of postpartum, that you walk through it with a grace and a freedom, knowing who you are. Because from this space where this gives us freedom, duality softens. And it's because we make things either good or bad. This is good, this is bad. This is good as a woman, this is bad as a woman. This is good as a mom, this is bad as a mom. You are a good mom if you birth this way. You are a bad mom if you birth this way. You're a good mom if you follow these health guidelines. You are a bad mom if you don't follow these health guidelines. These things trap us in a state of stagnancy. They trap our light in time, and they confine us to a very narrow way of living. And I was shown so deeply after this dream how children and motherhood, it was just like, Grey Mother was like, my daughter, what greater freedom do you want than to birth other universes through your womb? You have the capacity to do that. So claim the freedom that is yours, because I not only birthed you, but I birthed this world. And I have birthed other worlds and more worlds on top of that. And I am more free and more alive and more powerful today than I ever have been, and have more capacity for love because I know who I am through my creations. And instead of making motherhood and being a wife and all these things mean that we're trapped, or we can't experience a certain level, or we're victim to our children, or to our husbands, or to anything else, make it mean that we're stuck. Make it mean that we don't have as much power until, well, one day when I am this, one day when I'm finally this far along, when my husband treats me this way, when my kid gets this old, then I'll finally be free. Then I'll finally be able to go and just do a little bit of things for myself. What if every moment of motherhood was you choosing yourself and choosing you through your child? And that every mother mothered in the way that felt so alive and so, I just feel like vitalizing for her. That your children chose you because they want all of you, not a weird, watered down, conformed version of what you think is a good mom. But like, they chose you because they know that you don't like doing the morning routine, and you're going to hire the perfect person to come in and help them get ready for school and feed them breakfast, because that person's going to change their life in some way. That it is not all on you. That it's just not. That's insane, you know? And so it felt that way. The Great Mother, I wrote this. She said, my daughter, how many more green lights do you need, my love? Your life is perfectly set up for your success. It is exactly as it should be for the igniting of a new world and a new template. You are not only healing and birthing a new feminine divine template, but the divine family template in which all life continues to animate from, and how the wheel turns. What a gift that is. Not everyone is meant to walk the path you are on. But this path was perfectly curated for you specifically to be fully free, to fully succeed, to fully be yourself. As having a family and being married to Ethan allows you to be the child in the candy shop, to experience every flavor, every energy, and every kind of sour and sweet that life has to offer, because it's the world that you created through your room and your portal. You, my daughter, are far more capable than you think you are with this kind of lifestyle. The purpose of motherhood is not, as you say in your vernacular, that you are strapped down to a family, that people need you to survive. The purpose of motherhood is actually a launching pad into the greatest freedom that you have ever experienced. And what is freedom, you ask? It is the capacity you hold to experience all the mundaneness of life as sacred and as reverence. As you witness another soul, which is really just a fractal of you experiencing itself in life, you are not separate from life itself as a mother. You are life as a mother. You are the very essence of what life and the goddess is, and all life stems from you. And when you are not in creation and not birthing or tending to your creations, then you are not fertile. You are void of life force itself, which you experienced in your dream. The divine mother is fertile, full of creation, always looking for ways to create more. Children, new paradigms, new worlds, new universes, more ways of doing life, different ways of doing motherhood. Never let your mind corner you into one way of thought or make you think that this is you being strapped down. You are constantly evolving, constantly shifting into different animations that allow you to experience the candy store. All of it is good. All worth your reverence. All of it is simply an experience to be had. None of it is stagnant and none of it is bad. If it is painful, it is only to bring you into more love. If you call it trauma, it will hold you there and freeze you in time. Let all of it be simply an experience. This is the gift of motherhood. This is the gift of your marriage. As you are truly in divine communion with it every single day, let it be a way for your soul to expand and feel itself deeper and more intimately. Anyways, get a little passionate there. Thank you so much, all of you, for being here with me today, for listening to what's moving through me. And it's my greatest prayer that all of us may rise, that all of us may have the courage to feel what we don't want to feel, to reclaim our sovereignty, to claim the freedom that is our birthright. And together, may we rewrite a new template for motherhood. Because the one we've been given is crap, you guys. It's crap. And may we rewrite a new template for what family life means. And in doing so, and all of us just being honest with how we feel to those parts of us that are wounded. A new world can't help but be born. New structures, new systems, new ways of doing things, because it will ignite the creativity that was always in you. And there's something that needs to be birthed through you. And I'm here for it. I'm freaking here for it. I love you all. I hope you're having a great week. Let me know if you guys have any questions or comments. Please feel free to email me, DM me. I always love hearing from you. Thank you for joining me today. If this episode spoke to your heart, please share it with another woman on her journey. And until next time, stay rooted in your humanity and devoted to your becoming.